Hello, hello, and welcome back to TGTV, and more specifically, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to what can only be described as an iconic German muscle car. Today, I'm getting to grips with this very special piece of kit behind me and posing an all-important question. Is it now time to get your hands on a C63? And not any old C63, but the all-important 6.2 litre V8 variant. So, we're going to look around this car and then I'm going to go for a little spin. I'm going to decide whether or not I'm adding one to the garage and whether or not you all should as well. So before we hop in then, you can actually win this actual car for $7.99 with O'Done. This very car right here, you can win for $7.99. And not only that, but the TGE audience specifically can win this car for £6.39 if you click the link in the pinned comments. That will give you 20% off the ticket price. So go and get in the mix with that. And unlike a lot of things that you see online, this car will be drawn regardless on the 31st of October. So that means you haven't got long at all, and this car will be drawn. Even if they sell one ticket, this thing will be given away regardless. It will be drawn on the 31st of October, and it will be given away to someone. An absolutely bonkers piece of kit. So what are we looking at then? This is a 2013 Mercedes C63 Amg, and as you can see on the side, it features the all-important, it says 6.3, but actually 6.2 litre engine in it. It's an absolute monster. We're going to fire up in a second and go for a spin, but I now think that these are at the price level where they are stonking value for money. You get a ridiculous amount of car, and in fact a lot of this car actually shares its underpinnings with my SLS AMG, which is the best part of £200,000. Underneath the bonnet here then, here we go. This is the money shot then, ladies and gentlemen. We've got then a 6.2 litre V8 naturally aspirated, the last C63 naturally aspirated car that they have done, hand built in Germany, and as always with AMG, signed by the individual that built it. Absolute chaos. It pumps out about 450 brake horsepower at 6,800 odd RPM, and this, being the facelift version, has actually got the upgraded snappier shifts from the 7-speed gearbox. Anyone that knows anything about cars will know these things are iconic with the noise that they make, and these things are last of a dying breed. With AMG now, new C63 I think is going to have probably a milk carton in the front of it. So these engines are last of a dying breed, and in fact if you open the bonnet on my SLS, it pretty much looks exactly the same as that, bar some piston stuff and I think drive shaft stuff and maybe some other bits and bobs that I've completely glossed over there in idiot mechanics. This is essentially the same lump as you will find in my SLS AMG, and in fact almost the same lump as you'd find in even Captain Schmee's SLS AMG Black Series. So a very, very impressive engine, and it really just doesn't belong in a coupe like this. It's just insane. And this came from an era where engineers could just do whatever they wanted with cars. Now they're bound by regulations and all that boring stuff. Let's get the bonnet down then. Down you go, lad. Lovely stuff. So then let's jump inside then. Let's fire up and let's go for a little spin. As I say, if you haven't entered yet, get in the mix, because once tickets go, they will go, and this thing will be drawn on the 31st of October. Oh, it's so cool in here. It's done just 50,000 miles, and you're even reminded on here that you're in an over 6 litre V8 car. There aren't any manufacturers now pumping out engines that huge. So let's fire up then. Let's find the key. In actual fact, the key is the same as my SLS, and this car is actually newer than my SLS as well. I know I'm drawing comparisons the whole time. It's a very obvious comparison. So let's fire up then. Little one turn there. Oh, and you can obviously do what I did with my SLS and put wireless CarPlay in there as well, which is cash. Let's fire up. Right then, let's go for a little spinneroo.
and let's talk through whether or not you should get one of these. Surprise, surprise, I want one of these things. I think they're brilliant. Right then, used on the market then, these things start at 20-something thousand if you want the pre-facelift version. You've obviously got the facelift version, which is this, which started in 2011. And of that, you've also got, let's turn the nav off. And of that, you've also got, once the facelift came out, you've got the performance pack variant as well, which I believe came with bigger brakes, a little bit more power, and a little boot lip spoiler. My pick of the bunch would be the facelift. I don't like the look of the pre-facelift one. As I mentioned before, the gearbox actually got improved in the facelift variant as well, meaning that 7-speed shifter is just that little bit snappier. That's something that I think in time I may well upgrade on my SLS. Round town then, it's a comfortable car. It wafts. You can just cruise about quite normally. You can almost hear the fuel coming through the car. But if you don't hand-foot it, it won't drink it that quickly. Not to worry though, because if you win this car with O'Dern, they'll actually give you £2 grand tax-free on top of this car as well. They'll give you £2,000 on top. And that £2 grand will come in useful when you come to insure the thing as well, not just fuel it. Why is everyone so angry in London? Go away. I've literally been back in London for a day from Greece and I'm already absolutely sick of it. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of everyone in it. I'm completely over it. When this thing came out then, it was instantly compared to the V8 M3, and it was often said that the V8 M3 was better round tracks, on twisties, and a little bit more dynamic performance-wise, but this thing just had it in outright grunt. And that's no bad thing, to be honest. I own the V8 M3, and this thing has just got so much more torque, and it actually sounds better as well. And let's be honest, how much do you really care about driving dynamics when most of the time, most of us are going to be using these things just out and about, just pootling around like now? Where do I see the values of these things going? I think they will softly creep up for the right examples. If you get a standard car like this one is, then I think they will go up in value over time. Yes, you're going to get penalised more and more as time goes on for driving around in a 6-litre V8, but actually, I think these are cars from a bygone era, an era that people are going to look back on fondly. This is proper AMG territory. They've kind of watered it down a little bit with their turboed variants of late, and they're going to water it down even further from there with their V6 Hyper Hoover fart box nonsense or whatever they've got coming next. Yes, the newer cars are going to be quicker. Yes, they're going to be cleverer. The tech's going to be better. Whatever. The hi-fis are going to be better. Who cares? They're not going to be raw, stupid V8s like this thing is. I think the right coupe in the right colour, like a typical Mercedes colour like this one, I think it's going to be good news. Ownership costs, they're not too bad. It's said that these engines are bulletproof. They're absolutely bulletproof. You just don't really hear of catastrophic failures happening in particularly the facelift cars. You just don't really hear of it. You see plenty of cars with 100, 150,000 miles on the clock, and they're absolutely fine. And the other thing you can do as well, you can extend the warranty at Mercedes-Benz. It's not that expensive to do, and it'll just give you peace of mind. Oh, come on. I absolutely cannot stand London. This particular example then, having only covered 50,000 miles in 10 years, is as mint as you'd expect it to be. There are no creaks, there are no rattles. It is very, very well put together. It's proper German engineering. It's just brilliant in here. I think a really nice time. I actually want one of these. I'd be tempted by an estate version, just because I think they're rude. But I think the coupe is the best looking of the bunch. So I've just been distracted by a looks like that. Anyway, if you haven't entered yet, make sure you enter to win this thing, because, as I said before, you can win it for £6.39. That's only if you click the link in my pinned comments and in the description. That will automatically take you through and give you 20% off. And as I said before, it ends on the 31st of October. So depending on when you watch this video, it's literally a week or two before this ends. And it will be drawn regardless. There won't be any extensions. There's no cash alternatives. It's this car and £2,000 drawn at the end of this month. So make sure you go and get in the mix with that. with O'Dern, and I will catch you all very, very soon. So stay tuned then, and as always, keep me posted with your car purchases. I want to know what you're spending money on, what you've bought, and why. So keep flinging those links into my Instagram inbox, because I love it, and I read all my messages on Instagram. Whether or not I reply is another thing, but I'm in there. So get in the mix with O'Dern. Good luck with this one, and I'll see you all very soon.